Hi guys! Over the past couple of months, I've been doing quite a few reviews of various bound planners, and at some point I got a comment from someone saying that it would be interesting to see a video that was like a super comparison of all of the different types of bound planners out there, and I thought that would be awesome. I would love to do that. So that's what I'll be doing today. Obviously, I won't be including every single bound planner out there, but I'll be including what I think are the main ones that either are easy to get or, kind of reliable staples of the bound planner community that I think would be good options to consider for 2016. So we will be starting with my one true love, what I consider the best planner hands down in the universe, the Hobonichi Cousin. So the Hobonichi Cousin is an A5 planner, and I've got it in one of the Hobonichi designed covers. It's called the sack cover, and I've got a review on that if you're interested. It also has nylon and cloth covers like this one. So this is like kind of a traditional Hobonichi cover that has a lot of pockets on the inside, and you slot the notebook into these two flaps, and then when it closes you can put lots of pen loops in, or you can just put one pen loop in here to keep the notebook closed. So just in case you're not familiar with Hobonichi, it's a Japanese brand of planners, and they make 3 different main sizes, and I'll go through all of them quickly in this video, and you can only get them from their website. There are a couple of stockists. I know there's one in London, but I think that they only sell one of their planners. So if you want the whole range, you go to their website, which I'll link down below. And I think their planners are just amazing. I love them. I think that they have everything that a planner addict could wish for. So I won't be going into a huge amount of detail about any of these particular planners just because there's so many to cover, and I don't want you to have to, be here for 10 hours, although I would certainly enjoy that. So I'll just kind of point out the main features. So the reason that I like the Cousin so much is, for one thing, it's A5. Most of the planners that I'll be showing you are A5 just because I really like that size. But I think it's a good size for if you have quite a bit to plan, if you have a lot going on and you won't be able to be able to fit everything in, and yet it's not too gigantic and bulky. So the thing that's so awesome about the Cousin is that it has this yearly spread, and this isn't actually a complete 2016 version. This is what's called the Spring 2015 version, which means it starts in April and it goes until the end of March. And so this is the one that I've been using, and that's what I have to show you. There is a January 2016 start, so if you were to order it now, that's the one that you would get. Or if you wanted to wait a bit longer, on the 1st of February, the new Spring Cousins will come out. But if you order them on the 1st of February, that means you have to wait a while before you can start using them, which we all know is agony. So it has this yearly view, then it has a kind of yearly vertical layout, which I think is really great for kind of long-term project planning, bird's eye view sort of things, so that you can get an overview of your whole year. And then it has a month on 2 pages. I'll just show you a relatively clean one. And it has a bit of room for forward planning in this, so it actually gives you, it ends at the end of March, but it gives you April and May as well. If you were to get the January version, it would give you a couple of extra months at the end of 2017. And it has some checkboxes and some space here on the left and at the bottom for you to write extra notes, which is one of the things that I really like about Hobonichi. I think they're really well designed, and they give you a lot of room to write what you need. And also, by the way, the whole thing has this grid pattern, which I'm not sure if you can see very well from here, but you see there's a very faint grid. So if you want to, you can ignore it, but if you want to use it, it comes in handy for all kinds of things, both for writing neatly. I really like it for that, and also because you can use it to track things. So for example, if you wanted to track something like water intake, having the grids makes it really easy, because you can just say use each grid box for, I don't know, I use it for 500 milliliters, or you could use it for a cup of water, or however you like to track, and you can track all kinds of other things that way as well. And you can do that in the vertical monthly layout that I showed you as well, because, sorry, let's just go back to that, because that's also gridded. So I think that's a really nice feature, and something that sets the Hobonichi planners apart from pretty much any other planner is this gridded feature. Then you have a weekly layout, a week on 2 pages, and I'll just take you to a blank one. So this is your layout. So you get the current month in the top left, and then you have a space for notes on the left and at the bottom again, kind of the same as in the month on 2 page layout. And then you have a vertical column per day. And something else that I love about Hobonichi is that it doesn't give you a shared weekend. It gives you equal space for Saturday and Sunday, and it also gives you time. So you get, this is another awesome feature, you get from 6 a.m. until midnight. And there's even some space at the top and the bottom, so if for some reason you wanted to mark something earlier than 6 a.m. or later than 12 midnight, you could. And that's something that I've never seen in another planner. I've never seen a planner that has as wide a range as that. I've seen ones that go from 5 until 10 or from 6 until 10, but never anything beyond 10, and I really like that. Not that I'm usually doing things at midnight, but it's just nice to have the option if you do have something late. Then at the top, another nice feature is that you get 3 check boxes. So like for your top 3, or you can use it for 3 things that you have to remember that day or whatever you want, but it's nice to have the 3 check boxes, and then you have quite a bit of room for notes at the bottom as well. So I think that this works fantastic as a weekly layout. I'm really, really satisfied with it. I managed to be able to include everything, even on busy weeks. And because it's broken down into half-hourly increments, that means if you've got an appointment every half hour at some times, you still have room to fit that in. Some of the other planners that we'll be looking at in this video only give you 1 line per hour, which is not, it is conducive, I think, to, kind of really detailed planning. So that's your weekly layout. And then you get, this is like another really amazing feature of the Cousin, you get a daily layout. This is the only planner that I know of in existence that gives you all of these features. So I think that this is incredible. Whether you use the daily layout for more detailed planning or for something else like notes, it's still awesome to have all of that room. So for example, I use this for notes that aren't usually day specific, but it's really, really handy to have all of that space in one planner. And after the notes pages, you get like kind of you get like a blank grid page, and then you get some sort of extras like anniversaries, favorites, like a graph table for charting things, a timetable, which is useful if you are either a student or a teacher. So I'm going to use this next year when I'm teaching to write down my class schedule. And then there's some other stuff that is like kind of more information, which is in Japanese, that may or may not be useful to you. And that's the Cousin. So keep in mind that if you are considering a Cousin, that on the Hobonichi website, there are 2 versions. There's this one that I've showed you, which at the moment, the version that you get is the January start, 2016. And then there's a version called the Avec. And the Avec version means that the Cousin is split in 2, so that you don't have to carry the whole year around with you as at once if you'd like it to be lighter, because it weighs about half the size of the Cousin. So the thing to keep in mind with that is that the Avec version does not have the weekly layout. The only way that you'll get the weekly layout is if you get the full year Cousin. And so I just wanted to mention that in case you're not that familiar with Hobonichi. The Avec is great, and I'll show you the A6 Avec in a minute, but if you want the weekly layout, which I think is one of the sort of main attractions of the Cousin, then you need to get the full year version. So that's the Cousin. I'll just put that to one side. And the Cousin is just the Hobonichi name for the A5 size, by the way. So having looked at the Cousin, we will now look at its smaller sibling. the A6 or the original. So this is called the original because this was the original version of Hobonichi that came out, the original size, and it's designed to be the same size as a typical Japanese paperback. But it is an A6 size. So if you compare them in size, this is the cousin and this is the A6. So you can see that the A6 is half the size of the cousin. So depending on what you want it for, I would say for me personally, the cousin works better as like a heavy duty everyday main planner because you've got so much room in it. Whereas the A6, we'll see in a minute, for me, I think works better as something like a journal. So I'm using this as a gratitude journal, or like for lists or anything like that. A lot of people use it as an art journal. A lot of people use the cousin as an art journal as well. I don't do any kind of journaling or art journaling. I just do pure hardcore planning and a gratitude journal, which doesn't really involve much writing. It's really just, it's just a series of lists. So the A6 has a very, very similar, it's basically the same design to the cousin, but there are a few differences which I'll point out. First of all, I didn't mention when I talked about the cousin, one of the main drawing points of the Hobonichi line is their amazing paper. So the paper is called Tomoe River paper, and it's very, very thin and light, but extremely durable, and it takes all kinds of pens excellently. So you can use fountain pens, you can use watercolors, you can use felt tip markers, you can use basically anything you want, and there's little or no bleed through, and it kind of takes them very, very well. And that's how they can get so much into this, because the other planners that we'll see that aren't Hobonichis, there's no way that you could get a yearly, a monthly, a weekly, and a daily into a planner and not have it be humongous and, like this thick. So it's like really miraculous paper. I think it's something like 50 GSM. It's really thin, and yet it's not like cheap thin paper. It's like miracle paper. So Tomoe River paper is amazing. So like I mentioned, the cousin and the original, the A5 and the A6, both come in two versions, the full year version and the avec. And this one that I'm going to show you for the A6 is the avec. So I got this because I wanted to try it out, and I thought it would be nice to have a gratitude journal that was less bulky and didn't have the whole year in it. Obviously, the standard original looks like this. This is the 2015 version, but the spring version, but the 2016 one would look similar. So this is the full year version, and it's pretty much identical to the avec, except that it has the whole year. So you can see that if you want to put stickers and washi tape in, it will start to get really thick and bulky, and that's the main reason for them that they came out with the avec, so that you can kind of keep it slim even if you want to put a whole bunch of stickers in. And it's fine, it does take stickers and washi tape perfectly well, but because the paper is so thin, it ends up adding a lot of extra bulk, so it's really noticeable, more than it would be in a planner that had thicker paper, where the stickers wouldn't effectively be adding double to the weight of the paper as they do in this. So I'll just be showing you the avec version, but keep in mind that it's the same thing if you were to get the original version, which has the whole year in one. So the main difference between this and the cousin is that, so you've got the same vertical monthly layout, then you've got the month on 2 pages, but it doesn't have a weekly. There's a weekly booklet that you can get separately, and you can just like kind of tuck it into the cover. It's a little bit smaller, so it will fit into the cover as kind of an attachment. But in the actual planner itself, there's no weekly in the A6, and I don't understand why. I think that it would be a really great addition, because I'm sure that there are a lot of people, myself included, who would like to have an A6 but would like to have like kind of all of the functionality that you get with the cousin. So I'm not sure why that's not available, or if it will change in future. But as it is, you, after your monthly section, you get a daily spread. And this is the reason that I personally feel like the A6 is not as ideal for planning as the cousin is, because you don't get a weekly spread. And for me anyway, I feel like to be able to get a sense of what's going on in my week, I really like to be able to see it at a glance. You can use the month on 2 pages in that way, but I think for I do most of my sort of, really proper hardcore planning in the weekly section. And so not to have that, just to have a daily, kind of makes you feel a little bit blind. But obviously that's personal. So some people don't mind that, I think. So the layout, I kind of glossed over it in the cousin, but I'll show you in a bit more detail here. You get your top 5, so 5 check boxes. And then you have a timeline that goes from, technically it goes from 3 a.m., from 4 a.m. till 4 a.m. So it's a 24-hour timetable, but the way that it's done, and this is the same in the cousin daily pages, by the way, I just kind of skimmed over it, but here it's sort of more important because this is your only timetable, whereas in the cousin you have the weekly timetable as well. So you only get a number for every 3rd hour. So you get 6, 9, 12, etc. Whereas in the weekly spread of the cousin, they mark every hour, and then you have a line for every half hour. So I personally find this a bit more frustrating for planning, because if I'd like to be able to write out appointments that might be on a half-hourly basis, there's not really a way to do it. You get a line for every hour, but you don't get a number for every hour. You just get a dot, and then every 3 hours you get a number. So for me, like, kind of to use this as my main planner, I would find that a bit frustrating. But I know that there are people who do it and they like it because of the smaller size, because being A6, it's really compact. And yet because you have this grid pattern, it actually gives you quite a lot of writing space, because I think that the grids are reasonably small. So if you have big handwriting, then that might be a downside, because you might want more than one line to write on. But if you have small handwriting, or can kind of use the grids as a guideline, then you can actually fit quite a lot of information into this. And on both the cousin and the A6, you've got this line down like a third of the way across the page, so that you can say write appointments on this side and to-dos on the other side, or write appointments and to-dos here and use this for notes. There's quite a lot of scope for the way that you can use it, and there's quite a lot that you can do with a page. So you get this either for 6 months or for the whole year, depending on which version you go for. And then at the end you have a few pages of just blank grid paper, and then the same extras that you have in the cousin. And again, I've got the sack, like silicone cover for this, but you can get the same type of covers that I showed you for the A5 for the cousin. So I think that the A6 is an excellent option, but for me personally, it doesn't seem as conducive to using as a sort of main everyday planner. The weekly insert that you can get is designed along the same lines as the cousin, so it has the same weekly spread, but obviously it's much smaller. And so for me, there's not enough room. If I were kind of trying to imagine, because at one point I thought, because the cousin is A5 size and is it's not huge or that bulky, but I think some people find it too big to carry around with them. I was thinking, would it be possible to downsize into an A6? And I felt like that weekly insert is not enough room to write the types of things that I would want to write in here. So like, appointments, places that I have to go, people that I have to phone, all of that kind of stuff. It's a bit smaller than A6 size. And for me personally, it's just not enough room. So I think that's something to keep in mind. But if you'd like your planner to be smaller and lighter, then the A6 is definitely something to consider. Something else that I wanted to mention, there's a fourth variation of the kind of main Hobonichi lineup. There's the cousin, there's the A6, there's the weeks, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and then there's an English version of the A6, which I don't have. It's similar to the A6, but the A6 has colored, well, the A6 and the A5 both have a different color per month. So you can see here, I'm not sure how well the camera's picking that up, but you can see that every month is like kind of tabbed a different color, and also the grid is a different color. It matches the tabs, and that's something you get on the daily pages of the A5 and the A6, but the English planner doesn't have that. It's a similar layout, but it doesn't have colors. It's just black and white and like red or orange, but it's all in English, whereas these ones are predominantly in Japanese, although they do have some English, and if you don't speak Japanese, it's really not a problem. You'll still be able to use them. So the third sort of main option in the Hobonichi lineup is called the Weeks. And the Weeks is this like kind of wallet-sized shape. So if you compare it to the A6, it's skinnier and taller. The Weeks is really good if you want to be able to see your whole week at one glance. So it's got this kind of so-called verso layout where it's got a week on one page with a Monday start, and then it has a blank page of gridded paper on the right. So the left-hand side doesn't have grids, it just has like a box per page, but because the paper is so thin, you can actually see the grids through from the previous side, which is quite helpful because you still have a guideline for how to write. And then on the right hand side you've got this grid, and you have the same faint line that you have in the A5 and A6, sort of going down the first third of the page, so that if you wanted to, you could divide this into like say topics and then more details. This is also a January start, but it actually starts at the beginning of December, so you get 13 months. And then the really cool thing about it is that after your weeks, which by the way are just black and white, so you can see that the tabs are all like kind of black, and then you have like holidays and Sundays marked in red, but it doesn't have colors like these, which is kind of a shame. That's the one design feature that I think I would change about the Weeks, because I really like the colored grids on here. You have a whole half of the book, so half of it is your... Sorry, I skipped a point. You have the same, just in case you're wondering, you have your yearly calendars, and then you have the same monthly vertical layout and month on 2-page layout that you do in the A5 and the A6. So it's a different shape, but it's the same principle, all gridded paper. And you have the same paper, the Tomoe River paper in this. The only thing is that the color is different. It's a bit yellower. So if you compare it to the cousin, I think you can see that it's yellower. The A5 and the A6 have a wider paper, but it's the same quality paper, the same type of paper. So you have the whole second half of the book, which is just blank gridded paper that you can use for notes, and it's numbered from 1 to 71. So this is ideal if you want a planner and a journal, let's say. So you could have like your planner in here and a gratitude journal here. Or if you want to use this for specific notes, like I use this for YouTube video planning and lists of things that I want to buy kind of long term, and then just random notes for when I'm out and I think of something that I want to write down. This cover is separate, by the way. The Weeks doesn't come with as many cover options as the A5 and the A6, which I think is a shame. But you can get this cover for it separately. And I've done a review on it, which I will link below in case you're interested. So that's the Weeks. And I'm kind of going a bit quickly through some of these just because there's so much to cover. But as I mentioned, I've got reviews on all of these separately, so if you want more information about them, you can go to my video list and you'll see them. So the next one that we'll look at, I'm putting in here because it's the most similar to the Hobonichis. So this is the 2016 Muji planner, and this is the B6 size, which is kind of between A5 and A6. It also comes in A5 size. And I heard from somebody left a comment on my channel saying that she had got a B5 size, which would be like kind of bigger than A5. But I haven't seen that one in my Muji in London. Anyway, so the Muji planner is kind of like a very, like almost like a scaled down version of the, kind of a cross between the Hobonichi Weeks and the A6 or A5 planner. So it's got 3 years at a glance. Then it has month on 2 pages that goes for the whole year. And then it has a week on 1 page followed by a blank gridded page. This is not Tomoe River paper, but it's very nice, good quality paper. It's quite thin, but it takes pen well. And it's like very nice, smooth feeling. And so you get a Monday start, and you get your sort of week on 1 page, and then your blank page that you can use in the same way as you can use the week's layout that I was just talking about. And it goes all the way until the end of the year, when you get a good chunk of gridded paper, about 10 sheets, and then it ends. And it's just like kind of cardboard covers. So particularly if you got the A5 size, you could put this inside, say, a Hobonichi cover, or another A5 notebook cover. You could put it inside a Fodori. There are quite a lot of options for covers. The B6 size is basically the same size as a personal Filofax, and there are some places that make like fabric Fodori covers that are personal size, so it is possible to find a cover for this as well, but the A5 will be easier. So that's the Muji planner. And then we have something quite different. So all of the planners that we've seen so far have been that kind of like Japanese design. This one is from a company called Paper Blanks, which is Canadian, and they make beautiful, beautiful planners that are hardback and come in a range of sizes. So this is like just a bit bigger than A5, and they have their own names for the sizes, so it's called the Ultra, but you can see the difference between this and the A5 Hobonichi. It's just a bit wider and a bit taller. And then they have one that's a little bit smaller than A5 that's called the Maxi, and then they have sort of progressively smaller sizes, the midi and the mini, and then a really tiny one. So they have like kind of rough equivalents to A6 and something a bit bigger than A5 and a bit smaller than A5. The nice thing about this company is that they like use recycled material for the cover. It's like the cover of a hardback book. It's really, really good, high quality, and it's debossed, so there's a texture to this. And all of their designs are based on artwork from around the world. So they have some more modern stuff like Art Nouveau and Art Deco and Muka and that sort of thing. And then they also have this kind of artwork, which is based on like illuminated manuscript art and like just really, really beautiful designs. So, and the designs go all the way around. So the whole thing is really just a work of art. And you actually get the year at the bottom. So I don't know how clearly you can see that, but it says 2016, which I think is a nice touch because it's very understated. You might not even notice it. I didn't notice it for quite a while. But if you were to put this on your shelf at the end of the year, later you'd be able to find it by the year. And they're just really high quality, excellent paper quality. Again, they take pen really well. And there are a few different designs. So the one that I like is this horizontal layout where you get a week on 2 pages. And it gives you some, like a few lines per day. And it gives you equal space for all of the days of the week, which is like one of my kind of major issues. I don't like it when the weekend is shared. They also have a vertical layout with times. And on that one, I believe that the weekend is shared, which is one of the reasons that I like the horizontal layout. And they also have a day per page. And then they have a verso layout where you have a week on 1 page and then a page of notes. So like most of these planners, you get a monthly spread. This one, depending on the size that you get, either it's 2 months per page or it's a month per page, but like kind of going sort of sideways to fit it on. So compared to the Hobonichi, which gives you, and the Muji planner, which gives you a month on 2 pages, I think this one is a little bit awkward because you don't have as much room to write, but you still do have, I would use this for tracking very small things, like something that I could just use a code for, because you really, even in this relatively big size, you couldn't fit more than like 1 or maybe 2 words in these boxes. But the weekly layout is quite roomy, and I think it's a really nice layout. So you have kind of this space with a heavier line dividing each day, and then you've got some room for notes at the bottom here. And then at the back, it has a nice feature, which is that it gives you a monthly planner for the following year. And I think that that's really useful for forward planning. So if you're kind of coming to the end of your planner and you have to start writing down events for the next year, it gives you the whole year. So even if you know, and occasionally this happens to me, so I'm sure it must happen to other people, you get something that you have to put in your diary for really far in advance, like say a conference for November 2017. So you can add that in, and then you can transfer it over to your new planner when the time comes to switch. And I think that that's a really nice feature. It also has 2 bookmarks, different colors, and it has a pocket in the back, which is another nice feature because you can keep stickers in here, or documents, or whatever you want to keep in. It doesn't come with a pen loop. This is something that I don't know of any bound planner that comes with a pen loop, except for the Hobonichis. If you get a cover, the planners themselves don't come with a pen loop, but if you get a cover, they always have one. But it's a really easy problem to solve because wonderful Leuchtturm, who makes planners as well, and I'll be showing you one in a few minutes, makes pen loops in all different colors, and they're really cheap. On UK Amazon, they cost £2.50 each. And so you can just, you know, if you have a bound planner that doesn't have a pen loop, you can just get a Leuchtturm pen loop in the right color and it will solve your problem. This also comes with an elastic on the back that kind of tucks in to the pocket. And so if you wanted to keep this closed, you just put it on like that, and there you are. So I think that this is a really, really nice choice. It's beautiful. It doesn't need a cover. Unlike a lot of bound planners, which I feel like it's nicer to put them in a cover. In this one, I wouldn't want to, because the cover is so beautiful and it's also so sturdy that you could carry this around with you all year, and you wouldn't have a problem with it. I think like maybe it might get a bit worn on the sides, but it would be fine, and it would withstand whatever you had to use it for. So that's paper blanks. And now we will move on to the Moleskine family. So I think Moleskines are they were the first like kind of big brand name of bound planners that I knew of, the first one that I used. And I think there's some advantages of Moleskine are that they're easy to get. They come in a lot of different nice colors. They've got quite a few different designs, and they have a nice layout, a nice design. So this is the 2016 daily planner. So it's got a day per page. And most of these planners that I'm showing you, starting with paper blanks and then sort of moving on to the others, will have the option for a day per page or different types of weekly layouts. So like paper blanks, Moleskine and Leuchtturm are all quite comparable in that respect. Moleskine is a little bit smaller than A5. So if you, again, comparing this, I always use my Hobonichi cousin as my comparison because it's like a nice sort of true A5 size. So you can see that the Moleskine is a little bit narrower. It's basically the same height, but it's not quite A5 size. It's a bit narrow, which isn't usually a problem unless you want to put it in an A5 cover, in which case it can be a little bit floppy. So this was my favorite color of the 2016 range, but it comes in a few different colors, and they change the color range every year. And you can also get these in hardback or softback. So I like the hardbacks. They're not nearly as tough as the paper blanks ones. So this paper blanks cover is like, this is like a, sorry Tails, it's no one at the door. I startled Tails. He thought that someone was knocking at the door. But this is like really, really tough and sturdy and solid. Whereas this one is a bit bendy. Let's see if you can see I'm kind of like bending it here. You can't do that with the paper blanks one. So it is hardback, but it's not like quite as, it doesn't feel that hard. Then when you open it, you get some like personal information, and then you get a page to fill in personal information, and then you get your 2016 and 2017 year per page. And this year it's sort of varied in different years, but this year you get a month on one page. So before in the paper blanks we saw 2 months per page. This one you get 1 month per page. So you do get a bit more room. The boxes are a bit bigger if we compare it to the paper blanks. The boxes are a different size, but they are a bit bigger. So you still, they're different shapes, sorry. So this is like kind of a more vertical rectangle, whereas this is a bit more horizontal. You do get more space. If you wanted to make a list, you would have better luck in here than in here, but it's still not huge. Personally, I would prefer a month on 2 pages, which is just one of the many reasons why Hobonichi is my favorite type of planner. It's just like they do everything right. But this is still pretty good. You get some notes pages at the bottom. Then after that, you get a lot of information, which I personally, and I've said this before, so I'm sorry if you've already heard this, which I don't feel is very useful. So you get like time zones, travel memos, travel planning, flight durations, international dialing codes, sizes. There's like a whole bunch of stuff which I know is useful to some people, so it's not like I mean to diss this, but you get quite a lot of information here. And then it starts, and if it's the day per page, then you get hourly. It's broken down into half hourly slots from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. And this is what I mean compared to the Hobonichi, where you get 6 until midnight. So here really, like, you're not allowed to do anything past 8 p.m. Which in a lot of cases is fine, but there's not much room at the bottom. You get like an extra 3 lines. So past half, you get a line for 8:30. It's not marked, but so you get 8, then a blank line, which you could use for the half hour, and then 9, and then a blank line, if you see what I mean. So after 8:30, there's no more allotted times, and then you get 3 blank spaces that you could use for stuff that goes later, or you could just use it for notes. And there's a little weather icon and a temperature icon in case you wanted to track those at the bottom. And the thing about this is that on Sunday, it doesn't give you times, which I also kind of find a bit annoying, because again, I compare everything to the Hobonichi now because I think they just do everything right. And it's a bit bossy of them to decide that you don't need any times on Sunday. Obviously, you can write them in, but I don't know, I just think it would have been nice if they'd given you times like they do for the other days, because you might have things going on at particular times on Sunday. And it continues like that. It labels the week at the bottom of the page, so it says week 5 here, which the paper blanks does as well, by the way. I think I forgot to mention that, but the paper blanks labels your week as well, I think on the top. And it goes all the way until the last day of the year. So because this is a daily, it doesn't have to start at the beginning of the week. It can just start on the 1st of January and end on the 31st of December. And then it gives you just like a couple of pages of notes, not many at all. And then it has a pocket. And a nice feature of the Moleskines is that the color of the like kind of fabric that they use for the pocket matches the cover. And then they give you an address book. Paper blanks give you an address book, by the way, as well. I forgot to mention that because I'd taken it out because I personally don't use the address books. But if you wanted to, you could use this not just as an address book. You could use it for anything where it's like you have information in alphabetical order, like notes on different things that you want to carry over from year to year. And then it has the elastic strap, the same as the paper blanks one. The difference is that the paper blank strap kind of tucks into the it's an elastic disaster. Okay, the paper blank strap is like kind of tucked into the pocket, so there's actually nothing on the back, whereas the Moleskine one, it's like kind of been stuck into the back here, so you see it goes over like that. So that's the Moleskine Daily. Then we've got a couple of other Moleskines. We have the Verso, and this is another one that I've put a pen loop on. So this is a Leuchtturm pen loop, and see how amazing these are, because no matter what color your planner is, you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to find one that will fit. So that's awesome. So the Moleskine has the same setup at the beginning. This version, the week on one page plus notes, but it has, as you can see here, it's got your week on one page, and it's got a shared Saturday and Sunday, which irks me. That's what I was talking about before, that Hobonichi, another thing that Hobonichi does right is they give you equal space, and this doesn't. No lines, but you can see the lines through from the previous side, is with the weeks. A Monday start and a bit of space for notes at the top. And then on the right hand side, you have lined paper. So this is basically the same layout as what you get with the Muji planner and the Hobonichi weeks, but those have gridded paper, which I prefer. And this one has lined paper. And this particular one is actually the 15-16 academic planner, but you can also get one that's just 2016, which will be a bit thinner. And as always, it has a pocket in the back that comes with an address book. And the Moleskines also have a bookmark. I don't think I mentioned that for the other one. And the bookmark will be in the same color as the cover, so that's a nice touch. And then finally, just to round off the Moleskines, I'll show you this one. This is another layout option. So this is actually 2015, but it's the same principle. This is a layout that I really like, and for some reason it doesn't seem to be as popular because you can only get it in black, which I think is a shame. So the more popular layouts you can get in a few different colors, and then there are a few like kind of niche ones that don't seem to come in as many colors, and this is one of those. So this is a vertical layout, a week on 2 pages. Monday start, they all have Monday starts, and it gives you the times from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. Again, that seems to be a Moleskine thing. Those are the times that they give you, with lines and half-hourly increments. So you've got 8 and a line, and then another line for like the half hour. That's how I use it anyway. I guess you could use it if you had sort of more details, to, you know, like 2 lines worth of details for 8. And they have a gap in the middle of the page, which I think is kind of peculiar. I guess it's there because that's lunchtime, but I'm not really sure. When I was using this, I couldn't quite figure out. I used this for notes, but it was just seemed like an odd place. I would have preferred to have all of my notes at the bottom of the page. But nevertheless, I think it's a nice planner if you like the vertical layout. So you get that for every day. There's no division between the days, which is something else. Again, I'm like such a Hobonichi fangirl that I think is awesome, is that Hobonichi divides, they give you a line between each day so that you have a clear sort of demarcation. If you just compare the cousin, it's a very similar layout, but you can see that the cousin gives you equal space per day, a bigger range of times, notes at the bottom, notes on the side, and they give you a line between each day. So just, yeah, sorry, a bit of blatant propaganda for Hobonichi. I love them. What can I do? And then, of course, they have their annoying shared weekend. I mean, annoying to me. This is all just to me. I know that some people like shared weekends, but the weekend is shared, and also they don't give you times on the weekend. So in the daily planner that I just showed you, they give you times for Saturday, but not for Sunday. But on this one, they don't give you times for either. They just give you dots where the times would be, if you can see that. They give you like a little sort of dot every other line. But this one is, I think it's a nice option because it's very slim. So if you can see, you can compare this to the 18-month version and then to the weekly version, to the daily version. You can see how slim it is. So it's really portable, even though it's more or less A5 size. It's very light, very portable. And if you like vertical planning and you don't mind having a shared weekend, then I think this is a really nice option. So that's the Moleskine family. Obviously, Moleskines come in a lot of other sizes. So they have like a kind of more A6, like a pocket size, and they have an even smaller one. And they've also got a couple of other layouts, but I think like these are the sort of main ones. Between these three, that will give you a good idea of what they've got on offer if you didn't already know. And then we come to another planner which is quite similar to Moleskine, but as they say, details make all the difference. So this is Leuchtturm 1917 or Leuchtturm 1917, and this is a German company. Moleskine is based in Italy, and they make planners and journals that have a lot in common with Moleskine, and they also make these pen loops that I've been mentioning, these amazing, fabulous pen loops. So they have basically the same type of range as Moleskine and Paper Blank. So I kind of think of these as like a sort of a family, like they all have quite a lot in common, in that they make daily planners, week on 2-page horizontal, week on 2-page vertical, and the verso layout where you have week on 1 page and then a page for notes. So this one that I'm going to show you is a horizontal week on 2 pages, kind of like the Paper Blanks. So hopefully, even though I can't show you all of the different designs of all of the different planners, between all of these different ones you can get an idea of the types of layouts that you could get for all of them, because they all offer all of these. So these again are hardback, and like Moleskine, they're kind of flexible. So you see, that's really bendy. I think it's even bendier than Moleskine. Yeah. So this is the bendiest, then this one, and then like Paper Blanks is just solid and rugged. Of the three of them, Paper Blanks is my favorite, and then I'd say Leuchtturm is my second favorite, because of some features that I'll show you in a minute. So it's got the same kind of year on 1 page that you get in all of these. This one starts with 2015, so they give you the previous year, and then they give you the current year, 2016, and the next year. And the Leuchtturm uses a very like kind of nice, slightly grey, muted font, or print, which I think is really nice. And something that I like about it, in comparison to the Moleskine, is they give you a vertical monthly layout, which is just like the Hobonichi. So if we just go back to this is not a planner that I think of as having a huge amount in common with the Hobonichi, but it does have this feature, the same as this one. And that's something that Moleskine used to have and doesn't anymore. Instead, it has the like kind of month per page with the boxes. And I really like this one because I think that this is a nice way of just getting an overview of your year. So they give you that for the year. It's kind of spread out over 4 pages. And then it gives you this 1 page of international holidays. And then it gives you this page of like kind of project planning that you could use for like kind of charting or tracking for the whole year. And then it just goes straight into the calendar. And this is one feature that I think makes this, for me anyway, more appealing to me than the Moleskine, because it doesn't have all of that stuff at the front. And I just like it. It's just a kind of aesthetic thing. If there are pages that I'm not going to be using, it kind of bugs me that they're there, like taking up space. And so I just like the fact that all of these pages are useful to me, and that and I think to pretty much anybody, and then it just goes straight into the planner. So I really like that. It's kind of like no nonsense. And this layout is, so it's a horizontal week on 2 pages, no lines, and they kind of get around that by giving you this sheet, which I just had and has now disappeared. Here it is. So this comes with the planner, and on one side it has grids, and on the other side it has lines. The lines are pretty wide. So personally, I would rather use the grid because, well, I like grids and because the lines are smaller. So the idea is that you put this underneath and it shows through, so it gives you, you know, kind of a guideline for writing. And you can use this so that I think that they're trying to cater for everybody. So some people like their pages to be unlined, and some people like them to be lined, and some people like grid. So this is like kind of, it keeps everyone happy. So it's unlined, Monday start, and it gives you quite a big box per day. But of course that comes at the expense of the weekend, because just like the Moleskine, you have a shared weekend. And for me, again, that is a deal breaker, and that alone is what makes this the winner, in my opinion, in addition to the fact that it has this amazing cover and that it's really rugged and sturdy and like just fabulous quality. This is still, it's good quality, it's good paper. People are generally in agreement that Leuchtturm paper quality is better than Moleskine, and so it's like pretty good for most types of pens. But yeah, it's got quite a lot in common with Moleskine in that they both have the same approach to the weekend. Like Moleskine, it labels the week number at the bottom of the page. A difference, by the way, if this is important to you, is that Moleskine does not have any holiday information, nothing at all. They used to years ago, and then they took it out, and so they say if you want holiday information, you can go to their website. Leuchtturm, I think, has a great solution in that they just put it all into this one page at the beginning, which is very concise and gives you like a ton of international holidays. And then they use country codes to label which countries have a holiday in the planner, which is great, I think, because if you live in a country, then, or you're staying in a country, then you'll know that it's a holiday. Paper Blanks has this rather, to my mind, bizarre solution of giving you this huge list of like every international holiday that they can think of, which takes up many, many pages. So that's really, I think, the one downside of this planner, is that it takes up a lot of room giving you holidays, and I think that they've got the best solution for that. Anyway, so that's what this one looks like, and it goes until the end of the year, and they give you a week of January 2017. And then another nice feature of this is that they give you quite a lot of blank note pages at the end, like maybe 10, so like 10 pages, so like 20 sides. And like Moleskine, they give you an address book, and there's a pocket. Unlike Moleskine, the pocket is not color coordinated, so it's just white. And then again, like Moleskine, they have an elastic that comes out of the back. By the way, this is a true A5 size, so if you compare it to the Moleskine, it's a little bit wider. So this would fit perfectly in a notebook cover if you wanted to put it in something like a Hobonichi cover or a Filofax Flex, which is A5 size. This would fit better than a Moleskine. And now we come to the last planner in the series. So this is just to give you an idea of something that's quite a bit different. So this is from the brand Paperchase, which is UK based, but they also are available in the US. And this is a weekly diary, and it's from their Nordic range of designs. So by Nordic range, it's like this kind of folk art, sort of Scandinavian inspired design. And I think that this is a really cool planner because it just has so much color, and everything it's kind of like every page is unique. So it first of all gives you a month on 2 pages, and this is really nice because this is the only one of these planners that we've seen, apart from the Hobonichi and Muji planners, that give you a month on 2 pages. So they don't give you the vertical month that we saw in the Leuchtturm. They do give you a 2016-2017 overview, and you can see it's really colorful. And then they go straight into the month on 2 pages. So by the way, all of these planners that we've seen have all of their like kind of monthly planning at the front. And this is different than some planners, like spiral bound planners, like for example, like Erin Condren or the Happy Planner, which kind of intersperse the months with the weeks. So none of these bound planners do that. I don't think I've seen a bound planner that does that actually. They always seem to give you the months first and then the weeks, which I like, maybe because I like bound planners and I'm used to that, but I know not everybody likes that. So that's something else to keep in mind. So they give you all of these month on 2 pages. And then once you've got the months out of the way, then they go over to the weeks, and the weeks start with this kind of dashboard, and they're tabbed. So this is something that we haven't seen in any of the other planners. They've got these like kind of plastic tabs running along the side so that you can find your month. And the month starts with this dashboard that's got like important birthdays, things to buy, a to-do list, and websites and blogs, and every month has that. And the art for like every monthly page is different, and sort of for every one of these like introductory dashboards is always different. And then you have your week on 2 pages, and I think that this is awesome, first of all because it's so colorful, and it gives you like a box per day. Some of them are lined, some of them are unlined, and each one has a different pattern. So compared to something like the Leuchtturm, which is just like, you know, it's plain, it's nicely done, it's very well designed, it's a pleasing layout, but compared to this, I just think this is so much more fun. Although depending on what you need it for, you don't get a huge amount of room. So I don't know how good this would be as like your main planner, but if you don't have a lot of appointments and a lot of to-dos every day, it would be fine. Or if you're using this as like kind of one of several planners, it would also be totally fine. Again, this is an A5 size, and if you compare it to this one, you can see that it's a proper A5 size. So something that I like about this is, you can probably guess, no shared weekend. So I really love that. I think that makes a huge difference. And then you get this box for notes at the bottom. And the thing that's nice about it is that, as with the months, the designs are different for every week. So the color scheme will vary, and the shape and design of each day will vary. So you get sort of one of these dashboards every month, which is always different, always in the same style, and it goes until December 2016, and then you get just the very beginning, the first day of January 2017. And then at the end, you get a couple of extra sections that we didn't see in this family, the Leuchtturm Moleskine paper blanks family, which I kind of think of as a sort of unit. So you get contacts, you get a few pages of that. Then you get some pages for notes, which are lined, quite a few pages, and then you just get some blank gridded pages. And this comes in a like kind of plastic, like PVC cover, and it's soft back, so it's not as durable as these hardbacks, or, you know, kind of not as, doesn't feel as permanent, I guess, but because it's covered by the plastic, it's going to be pretty durable, and it will be waterproof. And you have this effectively a pocket. It doesn't have a pocket in the same way that these guys do, but effectively you can use the flap of the plastic cover as a pocket for keeping stickers and sticky notes and other things in. So that's the whole lineup. So if we just go quickly through them, I'll kind of give you my main summary points of what I think of all of them. I think that the Paper Chase diary is beautiful, it's fun, it's really nice and colorful. It has all of the main features that you would want. So it has the month on 2 pages, which I think is really useful, and it has a nice week that doesn't have a shared weekend, and it's really colorful. The paper quality is not going to be as good as in most of these others, but if you're just using it for like kind of either putting stickers on it or for just kind of writing, you know, not using a fountain pen, it's going to be fine. So I think that that's a really nice option if you want something that's like kind of a bit colorful and fun and is really not like anything else. Like this isn't like any other planner that I've seen. Then you've got this family of these 3 companies that make planners and journals. So I think like all of these, you have the, you know, this kind of nice, it's set up where you can tell that they make journals as well. Like they look like journals, they feel like journals. These are all the hardback ones. You can get paperbacks as well, which are in a kind of like sort of like faux leather, like sort of soft bendy cover, but also very nice quality. Like I said, my favorite of these is paper blanks, and that's just because it's such good quality and such beautiful covers that I feel like they're really durable and they're gorgeous. And I like the layout. I think the attention to detail is really good. And they don't have a shared weekend, which is maybe just my personal thing. Then Leuchtturm, it would be, I think, my second choice because you can get a lot of different colors. They have a very nice aesthetic. The only problem with this is the shared weekend. And then the Moleskines, which I also really like, and my main problem with them are, again, the shared weekend, and then also that they have a lot of information at the front that I don't use. But I think any of these would be a great choice, obviously, because I have all of them, so I like them. And then you get the kind of this group, which is Hobonichi plus Muji. And I'd say, I mean, I love all of these. I think like Hobonichi is just my favorite type of planner, like no contest. I just think it has all of the design elements are right. Nothing that I don't like. I really like the paper quality, the gridded paper, the fact that it's so thin that you can get so much in it. Muji, I think, is a good option if you like the design, but you don't want to have to pay for international shipping fees and possibly customs charges depending on where you live, which is a problem with Hobonichis because you can only get them from Japan. They come really quickly, like the shipping customer service is excellent, but nevertheless you can't just buy them from Amazon or like kind of go to your like local stationery shop and buy them, which you can with most of the others. But I think particularly the Weeks and the Cousin, I think like they're just great. The Weeks if you want like an on-the-go planner, and the Cousin if you just want like all of the layouts, everything perfectly designed. It kind of will cater for all of your planning needs. That's what I would go for. So you've got these like kind of 3 different families of planners, I guess, or 2 families and then sort of one that's on its own of bound planners. And I think that even though there are many more bound planners out there, hopefully this gives a nice representative sample of the bound planner universe. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I know it's really, really long, so I'm sorry about that. But I hope that you found this helpful or interesting, and thank you so much for watching if you have survived until the end. And I'll be back soon again with another video. Bye.